Okay, hello and welcome to a new week. There's only one lecture this week because of the midterm, of course. So I'm going to try and squeeze in some Python to the first lecture of the week, which is weird to do. Okay, but we're going to do it anyway. Let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is social media because surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly these days, so much of what you do is public, right? From birth records to, well, which is technically not social media, but maybe you forgot to make your Instagram account private, things like that. So I'm going to try and answer these questions. What are some issues affecting social media today? So what's going on in the world of social media? And also, how in the world can I make more informed decisions when I use social media? Because we're trying to protect ourselves. It's at least one good thing to get out of this class, if nothing else. So let's talk about work, first of all. Monitoring at work, maybe if you're using social media and you shouldn't be. All right, so when you're at work, maybe you're using a work computer most likely, and any work that you do on that computer can be monitored. Like people can, for example, look at your screen and see what you're doing. They have a little window into you. They can watch your mouse move around, and they can watch all the silly websites you look at. They can track like your keyboard and all the things that you type. With a thing called a keylogger. That's usually not a very common thing, but it's possible. If they wanted to do that, they could. And just think about it. Like back in the day, there were, before computers, maybe typewriters sitting around. Nobody was able to. Your boss was not able to just look at all the stuff that you're doing and make sure it's correct. Maybe after the fact, after you turn it in to your boss, they could take a look. But nowadays, they can watch you as you work, which is a bit odd. They can watch all of their employees at the same time on one big screen if they wanted to. And that is just something that was not possible before. Okay? And bringing it back to social media now, when you're interviewing for a job, for example, those interviewers, they like to Google people. They do that nowadays, and they can find your social media accounts. Here are some examples from the textbook that just show the extent to which this is a problem. So, for example, a school district fired a teacher because she posted a photo of her drinking in a bar, which is, of course, a normal thing to do unless maybe you're working for some kind of very, very religious school that doesn't allow drinking. But that was absolutely illegal, and that was absolutely legal, and we have no clue why she got fired, but maybe it was because the parents complained, like, this is unprofessional for you to have a life, how dare you? So it just goes to show that people are watching, employers and your students' parents, I guess. So that's one story. Another is about a sheriff. So that the sheriff was, a deputy sheriff. The deputy sheriff was fired by the actual sheriff, so he was a step above him, and he was fired for liking a Facebook campaign page for the person who was running against the sheriff, because you have to be elected to be the sheriff in this town, apparently. And so if you like the opponent, it's quite easy for somebody to find out because maybe they're already friends with you on Facebook. But that got this deputy sheriff fired for doing that, which who knows if that was right or wrong, but it happened. The idea is you have a right to free speech, don't you? Like this deputy sheriff was in their off time campaigning for this other sheriff. And it just so happened that the real sheriff found out, and this was a consequence at work. So it just goes to show more things than you think are public. Maybe we should keep that in the back of our minds when we're doing stuff. So, for example, I don't post anything at all on Facebook anymore because I'm friends with my boss. That's the idea. Okay? Okay. So, let's move on to Facebook itself now. Facebook, you think that you have some rights, but It's really not true. Have you seen something like this before, where people are posting like all caps messages? It's usually an older person. They're saying that Facebook does not have my permission to do all this stuff that they totally have your permission to do, because just by using their service, you give them permission. Remember, you clicked yes to that thing that you didn't read, those terms and conditions? They allow this. They totally allow this. And so whatever you post on your Facebook, it doesn't actually really mean anything. This kind of declaration is meaningless. Maybe you've seen it before. Just by using a service, you implicitly give some of your rights away. And that is something we will talk about in a few slides. All right, here's another example. I like to use Duolingo. I'm very proud of my streak. And back in the day, Duolingo, they didn't have any ads at all. They were all about that. That was like one of their huge selling points. Hey, we're not going to bombard you with ads. We just want you to learn. Okay? And every company needs to make money somehow. So if they didn't make money through ads, what in the world did they do? Well, the idea was they made money through translations. These people who were learning these languages would translate little snippets of like maybe a newspaper article. So here's your article, boop, boop, boop. And the users who were learning this language were given a little chunk of this article and told to translate it. And so they would go off and, with the best of their knowledge, they would go and translate it. They'd give the same chunk to multiple people to like make sure it's kind of correct and like take the majority, the guess on that. And so they have a translated version of that article now. And they would sell that. They would sell this translation service. Okay? That was the idea. Translation by a bunch of people at once. And they would take the best guess that was most in common. And that was how they made money. And I guess they noticed more recently, a few years back, that did not scale very well. So nowadays they do make money through ads, and that involves all the horrible things that ads involve, like selling your data to other people, etc., etc. But it was a nice little story where you used to be a bit more free on a website, but now you're not. Okay? And I would count social media, I would count Duolingo as a social media service. So let's head back to what you agree to when you use a service. So Google, let's talk about Google. Google's money, where does it come from? Let's ask that question. Google does not happen to be a search company. You use Google to search for things. Maybe you have an email account through Gmail or something like that. I sure do. Maybe you store your photos on Google Photos for free, etc., etc. But Google does not care about any of that. That is not their main purpose in life. That is not how they make money. Google is an ad company, not a search company. Okay? So let's talk about that. If you go and look up their like revenue statements, the vast majority, we're talking in the 90s% of Google's revenue, comes from selling advertisements. So maybe if you like search for something on your phone because you have a like ad block on your computer, you see, at least when you search with a browser that does not that actually shows ads, you see a bunch of sponsored links at the top whenever you search for something. This also happens on Gmail, at least it did back in the day. You see ads, and companies are buying that ad space from Google with their little Google AdSense service. Okay? So they are buying that space to be able to show you those ads, and Google is making money each time they show it to you, and also each time they make a little bit more, I think, whenever you click on an ad. Okay? So that is the idea. That is what they're doing. So let's think about this from a logical standpoint. If they want to make as much money as possible, they need you to click on those ads. Okay? They need people to click on those ads as much as humanly possible. And what does that mean for your experience? Because now we are at odds with Google. they don't want to show you the best result. They want to show you the result that's going to make them the most money. Okay, so you might see worse results at the top now. For example, if we're just talking about the search feature. You might be tracked when you click those links, etc. It's just not a fun time. So that's Google. That's what they're doing. Apple, on the other hand, is all about privacy. Okay, they really, really care about it, or so they say. And the reason they can get away with doing that and standing up for privacy, Apple, the makers of your iPhone, for example, because they make their money not by selling ads, but by selling hardware. Not by selling software either, by selling the hardware itself. They're making the phones. That is the lucrative side of Apple, okay? So it definitely makes sense for them, in contrast with Google, who doesn't really have any hardware. They just make a bunch of software that people use, and they need to make money somehow. It makes sense for Apple to care about your privacy, but Google to not, okay? So hopefully you see how we can read between the lines. If we follow the money, when in doubt, always follow the money and see where it leads, because that will tell you where a company's interests lie, okay? So I don't want to scare you away from using Google. I totally use Google still, but just use it with a grain of salt. Let's say that, if I'm allowed to twist that idiom around. Okay, so yeah, the idea is when a service is free, okay? We're talking Google, we're talking Gmail, we're talking Instagram, we're talking Facebook. You are the product. I want you to get that into your minds, okay? Let's make this pretty and put it on the next line. When a service is free, you are the product. Do not forget that, okay? How are they making money? Well, they could sell you ads, first of all. They could sell ads to other people who then show them to you on that website. So your information, all your search history, etc., things like that, it's being captured, okay? Depending on the website, depending on what they do, like Instagram, Facebook, they're saving your personal information, your images, things like that. It's being captured and either analyzed to make their product more lucrative or sold to a third party to, I don't know, somehow dig enough information out of you to make money by like targeting you and selling you other things. Who knows? So you are the product. All this stuff is being captured and sold, and you have no say in it because you agreed to all of this. You agreed to those very long terms of service when you signed up for the account, and you probably didn't read them. Most people don't. I sure don't. Maybe we should. So let's go to this website and read some terms of services. Okay, here we go. This is called for, if you know that little synonym for too long, didn't read, this is the joke for their website. It's like terms of service, didn't read. Okay, so, okay, let's do this. Let's look at this. So this is the website, terms of service, didn't read. What they do is they summarize all of those things, all of those terms of service that were way too long to read and you didn't read them. So let's read them. Let's look at them. They give little ratings to a bunch of different websites that help you like decide if you want to stay on that website. And I hope this is a nice little thing. I encourage you to read a lot of this. So I have a feeling there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 grades, A, B, C, D, E, and Facebook and Amazon are at the lowest grade. Okay, I don't think it goes any lower. Maybe there's an F, but I'm not seeing it. So here's a bunch of little websites. I think I made it large last semester so that I could talk about them. So let's look at all of these, and we'll talk about it. So let's summarize them first of all. Facebook sucks. Amazon sucks. Reddit's very bad. Wikipedia is not too bad. Privacy grade B, it says. You can read that. It says privacy grade B. DuckDuckGo, this is a website that is an alternative to Google. So this is another search website that I encourage you to use if you're interested in not being tracked, because they have privacy grade A, and it doesn't look like anybody else does. YouTube, owned by Google, of course, just as bad as Google. Khan Academy, E, Quora, E, all these things. Just not too fun. I encourage you to read this on your own. Anybody else that's nice? Oh, Apple is grade D, apparently. So, even though they claim to be all about your privacy, they kind of are because they're not as horrible as other places, but still not too good. Okay, so let's talk about the first thing. Let's talk about Facebook, okay? Because most of us are probably on it. We can actually click this, I think, and it might show us some more information, so how about we do that? So here are all the good things and the bad things about Facebook, and these are all of the things that are in the terms of service, just summarized for you, okay? So that is the idea. So let's talk about a few of these. Okay, so Facebook stores your data, whether you have an account or not, and if you hover your mouse over this, it tells you some more information. The way they're storing this information is through cookies. The way they're getting it and tracking it around places is through this thing called a cookie, okay? So that is just information that your browser stores and it shares with other people. That's what a cookie is. So it's unfortunate, isn't it? This occurs whether or not you have a Facebook account or are even logged in. They can track you around the internet because you see all those little Facebook like buttons everywhere, right? That's the idea. So that's unfortunate. So this next one is something that's yellow but not red. So it's not as bad, but it's still kind of horrible, is that Facebook keeps user logs for an undefined period of time. So for example, you know when you you search for somebody on Facebook because you want to find their profile and be friends with them maybe, or you just want to stalk them, those searches, you can click delete to get rid of them, but you have no idea what Facebook is doing. They probably are still remembering those searches. Who knows? So yeah, the idea is Facebook is not too good. Your identity is used in ads that are shown to other users. That's an interesting one that I was not aware of. I forgot about it, apparently. So apparently, if I take my mouse up, I can't point to it, but it says in the black box here that you give permission to use your name and profile picture and information about you in connection with all these ads. Okay, so that is the idea. They might even be able to use your photos in their own ads. So that's unfortunate. Of course, it collects personal data. It's Facebook. Some things are good, though. Okay? Some things are good. So, why is this not going away? It's a fun website. I would like you to hide, please. There we go. So, apparently, the service will not allow third parties to access your personal information without a legal basis. That's nice. They have to have lawful rights to collect, whatever that means. You maintain ownership of your data. That says nothing about when Facebook is allowed to get rid of it. You have the right to share your data with whoever you want. Facebook doesn't own it the second you post it. Okay? So you can scroll down and read these all you want, but here's another red one. Deleted content is not really deleted. So if you get rid of your account, you can always come back unless you go through a very, very long process of deleting your account. So that's enough for Facebook, I think. I think we're well aware of how horrible it is. But Amazon, I love Amazon. What's wrong with Amazon? How dare it be bad? A lot of yellows. So it still has a bad privacy grade, but apparently it's not red anywhere. That's nice. So terms of service may be changed at any time without any notice to the user. That's unfortunate. So the second they decide to steal your credit card information, they don't have to tell you about it. Tracks you on other websites. It makes sense. Amazon is trying to sell you things, so obviously they're going to try and track you places to see what you're interested in. Okay? So again, we come down to those cookies. That's what's going to track you around the internet everywhere. It's unfortunate. So, yeah. You cannot sue Amazon. You waive your right to a class action. That's unfortunate as well. Yeah, that is too bad. So yeah, personal data is given to other parties. Oh well. So Amazon's not too good. Let's look at some other places. Where's a good place? Let's talk about Wikipedia. We like Wikipedia. Very nice. So, yeah. You publish your contributions under free licenses. Like, you have control over this. You're giving it away for free. You don't have to register, so they don't have to track you. That's beautiful. Yeah, you don't have to use your real name. That is surprisingly something that is required in some places. Like if you remember, Google used to have a social media site called Google Plus. They required you to use your real name. So that's Wikipedia. And the cream of the crop is DuckDuckGo. They do not track you at all. That is their selling point. Okay, so I encourage you to look at all these. It's wonderful how horrible everything is. Okay, so those are websites that are both good and bad, and I encourage you to, if you don't read the terms of service, read the little shortened version on here so that you have a better idea of what's going on the internet. So that is the idea there. Let's move on now. So social media is a wonderful place, but also a horrible place. I'm sure we have realized that, especially with recent events. So it's really hard to censor things on Facebook or different places because of like your First Amendment rights. You're allowed to say whatever you want. It's the website's job to take you down. Okay, that's the idea. So they're very hard to censor because there's a million people. There are so many people posting that it's very, very hard to go through them all and just track down which ones suck. Okay, so it's very hard to sort through. It's a research problem. Tons of tweets looking for the bad actors, looking for, let's just say bad ones, bad tweets in some way. Maybe they have hate speech in them, etc., etc. So it's hard to censor because it has to be automatic. It's very, very hard to both allow anybody to say anything and then also censor it. Okay, I hope you see the problem here. One thing that's changed, though, is Trump's account got banned, but this is what happened. So here's an old tweet example from the slide that I showed back before his account was banned. But read this. You can tell that it's inciting violence. Okay, I hope you can see that. But it doesn't have any normal, like, bad words that an automated process could look for. It's hard to automatically go in and see, like, oh yes, this is inciting violence. It's trying to get people to rise up against the government. We don't like this. Let's get rid of it. So it's very, very hard to automate the process of looking for bad things. I hope you can see that. And then also Facebook, back when the election was happening, they decided to block political advertisements to its platform in an effort to get rid of all of the bad stuff, all the lies, everything that was going on. It just wasn't fun. And there was a backlash about that, so Facebook blocked, and they also not blocked election information before they made that announcement. It's just hard to do anything on the internet, I guess. If you're trying to manage a bunch of accounts with a bunch of people who could potentially do bad things, you're going to have a bad time, and you're going to let some things slip through the cracks. It's unfortunate. Okay? So that's where I want to leave us with the social media land. Let's now move to Python. Maybe we'll have a bit more fun there, okay? Kind of some sad topics we were talking about before then. So I talked about just briefly in the turtle graphics how to turn corners without having to guess which angle, okay? Because guessing angles is really, really hard to do. We don't like that. So what we can do then is use the goto command, okay? It has many names. It's goto, set pause, set position, but Turtle will just respond to this, okay? He will go to that spot, that coordinate that you give him, because he knows where he is, right? He starts out at 0, 0. Remember that. So you can get his current position by saying print turtle.pause. So let's go to Python, and or actually let's go to the documentation first of all, because here is turtle.position or turtle.pause. I think I showed you this last time, but let me show you it again, because that's how you know where the turtle currently is, and that's very useful. It's useful knowledge. So here's my desktop. Let's go to Dun dun dun, it's code from class, CSCI 1, and I think this is, well, this has to be lecture 15, isn't it? Okay, so in here we're going to store, I don't know, let's call it goto.py. So, we're going to import turtle, of course, because we want to use turtle graphics, and then when the turtle starts out, we can ask, like, print, let's actually make the turtle a turtle, turtle.shape, remember, turtle, we like that, and then we'll print turtle.pause, and this will print the current XY coordinate of the turtle. Okay, so if I run this, we have our beautiful turtle, and he is located at 0, 0 in the middle of our screen. Okay, good for you, turtle. So you can use this, you can print out your pause as you're moving, and you can use turtle.goto, or turtle.setPause, or turtle.setPosition. They are the same function. They're the same thing. So there's turtle.position. Where is set? There it is. So all three of these are exactly the same. Goto, setPause, setPosition. You give them two things, your x and your y coordinate, that you want to move the turtle to. Okay? So yeah, you just use it like this. Go to 60, 30. Please, turtle. And then you can print out where he is now. So turtle dot, I'll just use goto 50, 70, for example. So we can say this, and then the turtle will move there. Okay? So the turtle starts out down, so he's going to draw that line. But notice how we didn't change his heading, his current direction. He's still facing east, but he can go in any direction still. He just kind of wobbles in that direction. I guess we can imagine him doing that. Okay, so that's the idea. It's much easier if you use coordinates than to guess all of the silly little angles a lot of the time. Okay, so we can then print his new position, and it should definitely be 50, 70. Okay, so we first printed 0, 0. That was where he started. And if we run him again, that's where he is. So you see all this code working. Change the shape of the turtle to a turtle. Print out his current position. So we did that. Move to 50, 70. Definitely did that because the turtle made a line. And then print out your new position right after that. Okay, so those are the order of operations in this program. And I hope it's making some sense. So if you want an easier way to do your programming assignment, to write your initials, you can just pick the width and height of your letter and start drawing coordinates. Like, okay, I'm going to draw my L in this little box, and on the corners, I just need to figure out these coordinates right here. Like, this is x, y, this is x2, y2, or something, this is x3, y3. I just need to figure out these three coordinates, and then I can just tell the turtle to go there. Okay, I don't have to worry about, I gotta set up this, I gotta change the turtle's direction, I gotta pick this little angle. And this is especially nice for that N, if you remember that. I just need to, again, figure out the bounding box for this letter, and then I can just find all these coordinates, because then I can say that turtle, go here. Turtle, move up. Turtle, go to this coordinate. Turtle, go to this coordinate. And he'll go straight there. We would have to calculate this weird little angle. Okay, that's the beauty of it. And then say turtle, go to this corner. And then he'll go straight up. Okay, so I encourage you to do your programming assignment this way if you don't like the angles. Choose the width and height of your letter, and then use that to calculate the coordinates that you should just then go to. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do L and N again, and we're going to pick the coordinates this time. Okay, so I'm going to say, here's my bounding rectangle for my L. I think, what was the height of it before? I don't know. So let's just say the height is 200. I would like the height to be 200, the width to be, that looks like almost half, doesn't it? Is that one? A little over half. I don't know. Let's say 125. How about that? Okay. That's my bounding rectangle. That's what I want to draw my L in. Okay. So I'd like to do this with the turtle. Draw this L right here. Whee. And then we need some space in between our characters, of course. So I'm going to put some space, maybe, I don't know, 50 is enough. And then I'm going to make a new bounding rectangle for my n. That's my second initial. And hopefully I can make a similar looking width. And then I want to draw my n in here. And I again want it to be 125 wide and 200 tall. And so I'll have the turtle like start here, go up. This is my best straight line, I'm sorry. Then go down across to the diagonal corner, and then go straight up again. And we don't have to worry about angles, or actually even using the forward function. We just have to worry about 3 coordinates for the L, this one, and this one. I hope you see that. Then we need to, if we didn't already, if we weren't using this coordinate right here, we need it anyway, so that we knew how far to jump. Then we need this coordinate, and this coordinate. And so I hope you can tell that this is enough information. If we just have a starting x coordinate and y coordinate, we can make the rest of this very, very easily. So I guess the question is, where do we want x and y to start? Maybe, I don't know, negative 200, negative 100? How about that? If we do this, we can find the rest of our coordinates. And we can actually use Python to do it if we wanted to, but we can also just do it ourselves. So, what is the x and y coordinate for this right here? So, this is probably easier than angles, but it's just as tedious, maybe, when you're doing it. So we just have to add 200 to this y coordinate, right? And that'll tell us this coordinate. The x stays the same. So it's negative 200, and then it's 100, positive 100, yeah? And then, okay, what's this one? Well, it's, the y is the same, so it's still negative 100, but the x is shifted to the right, to the positive direction, by 125. So that leaves negative 75, right? I hope that is making some sense. Hopefully I'm doing the math right. So those are the 3 coordinates. We just have to draw those, and then our turtle will make an L. So let's try this. Let us try. So I'm going to maybe comment out these lines so that we remember they existed, but these are not useful for the L. Okay, so we're going to draw the L. So, let's see here. What do we want? Well, we need to say turtle dot go to. We need to start out the turtle somewhere. Maybe we can start him out here. Negative 200, 100. So if we run this, the turtle will start right there. Ooh, but he drew a line because he was down. We got to pick him up first. So now if I rerun it, I'm typing F5. Now he's there, but he's not making marks. So now that he's where we want him to be, we can put him down. If only I could spell turtle. Okay, so we say turtle.down, and now we can say go to this coordinate, go to this coordinate, because now that he's down, if we go here, he's going to make a line. If we go here from there, he's going to make a line, yeah? So now we can just say it a bunch of times, go to, there we go. Trying to make it so we can see. Let's do this. Turtle.goto, negative 200, negative 100, turtle.goto, negative 75, negative 100. Let's see if I did my math wrong. Oops, not 5, but F5. Hey, that looks like an L, yeah? Isn't that nice? So now the next step is to jump the turtle over here without making a mark so that we're ready to make the N. So in order to do that, to make this jump, we need to calculate this coordinate and also pick the turtle up. So let's do that right now. We know we need to. Move over to get ready to draw the N, and then actually draw the N. So we'll do both of those. It's nice to leave comments that tell you what you're about to do. It's very, very helpful for programmers to do that. Okay, so let's figure out this coordinate. we need to add 50 in the x direction, okay, because we're going right in the positive x direction. So the y coordinate stays the same, it's still negative 100, and then the x changes by 50, so negative 25, right? So if we just say that, let's do this way then. Turtle dot go to negative 25, negative 100, but what did I forget? Ah, yes, it was the turtle dot up. So then he's in the right spot now, and we need to put him back down so that he draws a line again. Okay, I hope you see the game we're playing. And now we're ready to draw that n, so let's find the rest of the coordinates. Okay, so this one is, well, it's going to have the same y coordinate as this one, so it's going to have 100, and it's going to have the same x coordinate as this one, so it's going to have negative 25. Beautiful, right? Okay, that means this one is going to have the same y coordinate, so 100, and let's figure out these x coordinates then, because this one is also negative 100. We just need to find out this x coordinate, and we can put it in both places. So it is negative 25 plus 125 in the positive direction, so that's just 100, right? That worked out well. So I think those are our coordinates. So we just say turtle go up here. After starting right here, let's see if that works and draws the first part of the n. And I believe, yeah, it's working. So let's do the rest. I can just copy and paste these now, let you see the game we're playing. So we now need to go to the top, so negative 25, 100, oh sorry, we now need to go down here. Oops, it's 100, negative 100. Dun, dun, dun. And then we need to go to 100, 100. And I think that'll do it. And we have now drawn our initials, at least my initials. One thing that you can do, if you're interested in it, is you made such a pretty picture, but the turtle's kind of either adding to the picture, and he is beautiful there, or you prefer it to just show the lines, and once you're done drawing, you can hide the turtle, okay? There is turtle.hideTurtle, or turtle.ht, if you'd like, and that will make the turtle invisible, okay? So, let me show you that. Turtle dot either ht or hide turtle. There we go. So if we run that, our beautiful picture will not have a turtle in it, sadly. So that is my initials and how to hide a turtle. So hopefully that was some fun. Let us move on now. So I'm going to pull up your next essay. It's a mini essay, and then I'll be right back. All right, so your next essay is going to be only a 500-word one, and it's going to be about an article. So I want you to read this article here. I linked to it about the Therac 25. It's a machine, and some bad things happen because of it. You don't have to look at these discussion questions. Just read the article, and if you're interested, you can look at the Wikipedia page. There's a bit more information there, as Wikipedia does, and I want you to write about it. So you're going to write a response, and I want you to highlight any false assumptions that were made by the companies involved. You might want to look at the root causes section of Wikipedia for that, and also tell me what you might have done to prevent this disaster. Okay, it was an unfortunate disaster associated with computer science, computer science and programming, and how would we fix that? Okay, so tell me that. Tell me what you would have done differently, and as long as you do those things and write it 500 words, you get full credit. So there's no need to cite anything, but you can cite the article or other sources that you find. But yeah, please respond to these sentences here in 500 words, and that is that. That will be your mini essay. So hopefully that makes sense. Please yell at me if you have any questions. This is going to be a very interesting article if you haven't heard of this before, I think. Okay, so that is your next essay. And finally, because it's week 8, we're right in the middle, of the semester. So I want to do what's called mid-semester evaluations. And these are just for me to try and improve as an instructor, and they're completely anonymous. Okay, so I'm going to give you a link to a Google form, and it's not going to track you like Google likes to sometimes. It's just for me, okay? So if you click it, let's see here. If you click here, you can say click here to take the survey, and it will plop you right here. And I just want you to respond to all of these, as many as you would like. You don't have to respond to anything if you don't want, but I would really appreciate it if you would help me out here. So please give as much or as little feedback as you would like. This is of course optional, but if you have something to say, please say it. I would appreciate it. So that is that, and yeah, please do that as well. I think that's all I have for you. Good luck on your midterm, and I guess I will see you next week.